Right, I'm going to make my second video on this Saturday. It's roughly about 10:30. I've already watched 3 episodes of Friends. I can't keep on doing it, so I'm going to instead make these videos for you. That's how much I care. Now make sure, again, with these videos, what do you have to do? You have to try the question first before actually watching the video, or what is the point? Right, with this one, I'm going to cut out the ones which aren't right, and then the other one will obviously make more sense. So, which of the following is most likely to cause an increase in aggregate investment expenditure? That is just a posh way of saying what's going to make investment go up. Now we know investment is spending by firms on capital goods, so let's go for it. Now would they spend more on capital goods if there was a rise in interest rates? No, because if they wanted to take out a loan to do it, it would cost too much, so that doesn't make any sense. A fall in AD, now this is something we've just learnt recently. Investment will go up if there's an increase in AD because of the, I think that's how you spell it. If it was a rise in aggregate demand, there'd be the accelerator effect. But the problem is, an accelerator effect is when AD goes up, firms increase investment to try and keep up with demand. But that hasn't happened because it's a fall, so it's not that. Right, a rise in the exchange rate. Whenever you see this, you have to write spice. Imports cheap, exports dear. Now, if firms' exports are dear, they're not going to be selling as many goods, so why would they want to invest? So it's not right. So the answer is going to be D. And this is simply if there's a fall in the price of capital goods, firms are more likely to want to buy capital goods. So the answer is D. Okay, I like this question because this is easy. For you guys, you'll find this really easy. Now they're talking about using a contractionary fiscal policy. Remember, contractionary is when they make AD go down. So it's a fiscal policy that makes AD go down. So I'm just going to draw a diagram. I'm going to my AS like that. And we know fiscal policy is fizzy G&T, government spending and taxation. So AD was there, and now AD's here, so it's gone down. I might do some dotted lines. I don't need to, but I'm going for it. So P1, P2. Okay, I'm just going to label everything just because I don't want you to ever not label it. So there we are. Right, which of the following is most likely to deteriorate as a result of using contractionary fiscal policy? Right, is it going to be good for our current account position? Is it going to now deteriorate? Just means get worse. As a result of a contractionary fiscal policy, which is most likely to get worse. Now, actually, the current account. Some of you are sitting there thinking, I don't know what the current account is. That means the trade balance. It's another word for trade balance. They sometimes also call it the AS. All those 3 things mean the same thing. So anyway, is it going to deteriorate our current account balance? Is it going to make us import more than we export? No. If AD goes down, we're actually going to import less because we're buying less stuff. And also, because the price level's gone down, it makes our goods more competitive, so we might export more. So anyway, the answer can't be A. Right, B. Is it going to be worse for our unemployment figures? Yes, this is right, because there'll be an increase in cyclical unemployment. This is because as AD goes down, there's less demand for goods and services. If there's less demand for goods and services, they need less workers. This is because demand for workers is derived from demand for goods and services. Right. Is it going to be bad for our export volumes? No, as we said before, because the price level's gone down, it will actually be good for our export volumes. So that's wrong. And is it going to be bad for our international competitiveness? No, it's going to be good for our international competitiveness. So the answer is B. Right, to be honest, I think that is actually quite a hard question because they've used loads of posh words. They've used contractionary fiscal policy, which means AD is going down. They've said current account position, which all it means is trade balance. And also they've used the word deteriorate, which I think is a bit unfair because that's quite a hard word. Right, as usual, cross out all other things being equal. It means nothing. I don't know why they do it. Right, a rise in imports is most likely to be caused by an increase in. Okay, so what's going to make people want to import more stuff? Now, if people are saving more, that's not going to make them buy more imports because they're leaving more of their money in the bank. So that doesn't make any sense. Is it going to be caused by an increase in the government's budget surplus? Right, an increase in the government's budget surplus must mean that government spending has gone down and they get an increase in tax. Whoops, what am I trying to do? An increase in tax. I want to put a T. There we are. Right, if the government are spending less and they're increasing taxes, this means actually our budget surplus will go, this means we'll actually buy less imports. And the reason is because, remember, government budget, this is C plus I plus G plus. So if AD is going down, that means we're going to buy less imports. That's the idea. Right, C. Yeah, obviously. So if there's a rise in imports, it's more likely going to be caused because consumer expenditure has gone up. Because if consumers are buying more stuff, yes, they might be buying more domestic stuff, things bought in the UK. They also might have been buying imports. And finally, they use this scary word again, the current account surplus. A current account surplus, this means imports are higher than exports. But look at the question again. A rise in imports is most likely to be caused by. It's not going to be caused by that. That just kind of shows it. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I can see how someone might write that just because they think, oh, that's to do with imports. But it's wrong. The answer is C. Here we are with a nice diagram question. We like this. So the economy is working within its PPF. Now, just to show you, on this diagram, when an economy is working within its PPF, it's the same as AD being down here. So that's the country working within it. So that would be X there. Sorry. And that line here, when it's on its PPF, would be Y here. Anyway, which of the following is most likely to move the economy to point Y? So what's going to make, obviously, I've just kind of done it in the diagram, it's going to be AD going up. So the only thing that makes this bit go to there is an increase in AD. So an increase in interest rates, well, that makes AD go down, so that's wrong. An increase in the exchange rate, we write spiced. Strong pound imports cheap, exports dear. Now we know that would make AD go down, so that's wrong. A reduction in income tax, that would make AD go up, so that's right. And an improvement in technology, that's wrong, because an improvement in technology would cause this line to come out like this and make economic growth happen. So it's not that. The answer is C. If you were going to be wrong, D was the way to be wrong. But you'd still be wrong, so. Right, expansionary monetary policy. We love these words now. We've got used to them. We're not scared of them anymore. We laugh at them, in fact. Right, expansionary. That just means AD is going up. Right, and remember, a monetary policy is always to do with the base rate, money supply, and the exchange rate, but mainly the base rate. Right, what's expansionary monetary policy going to do? It's going to make AD go up. So that's wrong. It's got nothing to do with that. Result from a reduction in taxation? No, we know that is fiscal policy, because fiscal policy is fizzy G&T, government spending and taxation. Right, this one, every time they write it, it just puts fear into me, because I know someone's going to be looking at it going, I have no idea what that is. Right, remember, a current account, balance of payments, they put both them in, all they mean is a trade balance. And a trade balance surplus means that we are exporting more than, I want to do my crocodile, more than we're importing. Okay, so is an expansionary monetary policy more likely to, are we going to suddenly get a good trade balance? No, we're not, because remember, an expansionary monetary policy will make AD go up. So actually, it will actually be bad for our trade balance. So that's not right. So an expansionary monetary policy will just shift AD to the right, which I'm sure you already put, and I'm sure at half you didn't even bother listening to me there, so I don't really mind. Right, when you get this question, as soon as you see it, you think, yes, egg on everyone else's face, because I've got a way of getting this question right. As soon as I see a rise in the exchange rate, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to write spiced, and the examiner will be able to do nothing about it, and I'm going to win, okay? So, a rise in the exchange rate of the pound sterling, that just means the pound, is likely to assist UK government policies aimed at reducing the. Okay, let's just remember what a strong pound imports cheap, exports dear will do. Right, if imports are cheap, what's going to happen? We're going to buy more imports. So that's bad for our trade balance. And exports dear, that's also bad for trade balance, because people aren't going to be buying our exports. But the key thing is probably AD will be going down, because obviously if no one's buying our exports, we are that makes AD go down, and if we're buying imports, that again makes AD go down. Is it so a rise in the exchange rate? Is it likely to help reducing level of imports? No, as we've seen, it will increase the level of imports. That's wrong. Will it reduce the level of employment? No, because if AD's gone down, there'll be an increase in cyclical unemployment. So C is the right answer, because if AD goes down, it could reduce demand pull inflation, because there'll be less demand and supply might be able to keep up. Right, the balance of payments deficit. Remember, balance of payments, that's another posh way of saying trade balance. So if we're in a deficit, that means we're importing more than we're exporting. But all this is going to do is actually make our balance of payment deficit worse. So the answer is C. Right, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm pretty bored now. But I'm going to push on because I care about you guys. Question number 7. Which of the following is a supply side policy aimed at reducing unemployment? Oh, good. So we know supply side policies they breathe life into the economy and they have epic results. Now remember, the life stood for labour policies, industry policies, financial policies, enterprise policies, and the epic stood for they make a country more efficient, more productive, they provide incentives for people to do stuff, and they also make our country more competitive. Anyway, which of the following is a supply side policy aimed at reducing unemployment? Right, first of all, a cut in interest rates isn't a supply side policy, this is a monetary policy. Now the only fiscal policies can be supply side policies, but monetary policies can't, so you can cut that straight away. Again, we can cut this because the money supply is a monetary policy. Right, an increase in unemployment benefits. If you increase unemployment benefits, what's going to happen? Everyone's just going to say, well, I might as well be unemployed. So that's actually going to increase unemployment, so that's wrong. Here we go, a cut in the rate of income tax. What this does, it gives people an incentive, going back to that word over there, they've got an incentive now to work more because they'll get more money rather than having to pay tax. So that is a great example of a supply side policy to get more people to want to work, and this will make the economy, the AS line in the economy, go out like that, because that's what a supply side policy does. There we are. Right, question number 8. Oh, I like this sort of question. Now, this graph, remember, it's got the trend rate and the actual rate. Now we've got to try. Now they're trying to screw you over here, right? The output gap is XY. It's between this bit and this bit, but because it's only halfway, some people get confused. So I normally draw this on because I know this is above the line. I know this is a positive. I'm never sure how to spell positive. Anyway, a positive output gap. Whenever there's a positive output gap, this means there's too much demand in the economy, and the economy maybe not be able to keep up. So if we were to do it on a PPF, it'd be out here. But the line hasn't moved out there, it just means that's where the demand is. Anyway, what's the best way to try and make it go back in? Now, because there's too much demand in the economy, it's going to be any policy that makes AD go down, sorry. So an increase in the rate of interest, that would work. So that would be the right answer. But let's keep on going. A fall in the exchange rate of the currency, that is a monetary policy. And it's WIDEC. And that would make exports cheap, imports dear. That would make AD go up, so that would be a stupid thing to do. A cut in income tax rates would also make AD go up, so that would be wrong. And an increase in government spending, because government spending is part of C plus I plus G plus X minus M. That would also make AD go up, so that's wrong. So the answer is A. Moving on quickly, what I've realised from doing this video is, this is my second video of the day, and I'll probably do 4, I think. Depends whether I want to kill myself halfway through. But what I'm realising is, the more you do in a row, you just get so much more used to it. Like, I'm not even bothered looking at the answers now, I'm just going to go for it. And that's why I want you to be. Anyway, question number 10 is, which of the following is likely to result in the rightward shift in the short run AS curve? Now for me, I always used to like draw in the diagram. So we've got AD there, and we've got, it's going to the right, so we've got SRAS1. Now remember, anything that makes the short run AS curve shift is a change in a firm's cost of production. And if it's going this way, this means firms' cost of production must be going down because they can supply more. So we're looking for anything that could make the cost of production go down. Right, a decrease in wage rates. Right, we've already got it, so the answer is A. Now, a decrease in government spending would affect the AD line, and that would make AD go to the left. So that's completely wrong on every count. An increase in taxation, again, would affect AD. That's wrong. An increase in investment expenditure. Right, first of all, that would affect AD because it's C plus I plus G. But also, an increase in investment expenditure in the long run will make the AS line go out like this. But remember, it's making the long run AS line go out. So, it's the wrong AS line. So that's wrong. So the answer is A. Right, question number 11. These ones are a joy. They're easy. So what's happened is AD... Now, the only way you could go wrong is by not reading it. Right, AD's gone to the right, and they've got E randomly just here. Are you wondering why have they got E randomly on that line? There's nothing that making it go through that point. But you'll work it out in a second, right? The government predicts that aggregate demand will increase the long run from AD1 to AD2. Which of the following policies is most likely to move the economy to a new long-run equilibrium at point E rather than point F? So point E, we haven't got any lines going through it. So why have we even got that point? It's because there's going to be another line that would go here. This would be LRAS1, and this would be LRAS2. So what's it basically asking? Which of these points below would be like a supply-side policy? A policy that would make the economy grow. Right, we know it can't be A, because an expansionary monetary policy would make AD go up. And I bet you'll have put that because that's what they're trying to trick you into, because you're not seeing that extra line. Anyway, allow the exchange rate to rise. Again, that's an AD thing, so that's wrong. Increase taxation, rubbish, because, again, that makes AD go up. Now, you might have realised you were wrong here, because all those three things, or two of them anyway at least, yeah, two of them would make AD go up. This one would make AD go down. So you'd be thinking, well, it's A or C. This is wrong. So whenever you see that two are definitely right, that means you're definitely wrong, if you know what I mean. So D is the answer, because improving the flexibility of the labour market means more people will be able to work, which will increase supply. So the answer is D. Now, when you see that question again, you'll get used to it. Right, aggregate demand may rise as a result of an increase in... Oh, this is too easy. It's too easy, right? They've tried to scare you. They've tried to scare you with these two ones, budget deficit and budget surplus. Now, this isn't a trade deficit. This is a budget deficit. So if there's a budget deficit and an increase in the budget deficit, this means the government are spending too much and they're getting not enough in tax, right? So is that going to make AD go down if the government is spending too much and they're not getting as much money in tax? If they're spending too much, that's going to make AD go up. So that is actually the answer. Because to get into a bigger budget deficit, they must have been spending more. Now let's just go on. A budget surplus. If they've got a budget surplus, they must have been spending less. So that's going to make AD go down. Right, savings. Right, it was an increase in savings. Well, obviously that's going to make AD go down. And we know an increase in imports makes AD go down. So even if you didn't really understand it, you were between A and B, and obviously the answer is A. Right, question number 13. I'm going to cross off the usual. In a country with full employment, all full employment means is, you know, when you've got this diagram, full employment is when AD is at this point, because there is no cyclical unemployment in the economy. So the economy is at its full capacity. Which of the following is most likely to increase inflationary pressure? So it's got to be something that will make AD go up. Because if AD went up from this point here, and went up here, that's obviously going to cause inflation. I've got to stop saying obvious, because obviously it's not obvious. Right. Which of the following is most likely to lead to an increase in inflationary pressure? An increase in savings? No, that's going to make AD go down, so that's stupid. An increase in imports? That again makes AD go down. C though, an increase in exports makes AD go up. Now remember, an increase in the exchange rate is strong pound, imports cheap, exports dear, which makes AD go down. So the answer is C, exports. Yeah, sorry, at the minute, for some reason I seem to be clucking. So if you hear any clucking in the background, I think I'm allergic to something. Not entirely sure what it is, but anyway. Right. Lovely, easy. So AD's gone to the right. Which of the following could have caused the rightward shift of AD? So it's got to be anything that makes AD increase. Right, an increase in inflation? No. An AD increase might cause inflation, but it won't be the cause of it. Right, the answer is B, because it's C plus I plus G. So if G goes up, that means AD goes up. So the answer is B. Taxation would make AD go down, and an increase in interest rates would make AD go down. Taxation would have been a fiscal policy, and interest rates would have been a monetary policy. And because they were both going to cause AD to go down, there would have been a contractionary. Can't spell contractionary. Contractionary. There we are. Good. So the answer is B. Another nice easy one. Right. So that they're showing is the LRAS. It's a straight line like that. And the LRAS shows an economy. We know it shows an a country's productive capacity. So we know that. But let's see whether they actually give that as an option. I don't know why I'm writing productive capacity, but I am. There we are. Does it show an economy's equilibrium? No, to get an equilibrium, you need to have two lines. So you need an LRIS and an AD, and then the bit there would be the equilibrium, where they both meet. Now, potential output is fine. That's what it is. It's their productive capacity, so that's the right answer. It doesn't show the level of inflation, and it doesn't show economic growth. Because economic growth, it would be when this LRIS shifts and goes outwards. So the answer is B. Okay, I'm delighted. I think I need a little break now. So I've done 2 of these today. Hopefully these are useful.